Well, welcome. My name is Mohammed Amin. I am the founder and executive director of the Caribbean Equality Project, and we are a Caribbean LGBTQ immigrants' rights organization based in New York City. In 2021, we curated Live Pridefully, Love and Resilience Within Pandemics. We know that the pandemics impacted immigrant communities, Black and Brown communities, but it also impacted LGBTQ folks. And this exhibit features 7 Black and Brown, queer and trans immigrants from the Caribbean, particularly places like Guyana, Jamaica, Haiti, and Trinidad and Tobago. And each one of their stories talks about what they've been doing during the pandemic, but it also talks about their resiliency as a queer and trans person, as an immigrant person living in America. And we wanted to curate this exhibition, which was a part of the Queen's Museum Year of Uncertainty. And it was on view at the Queen's Museum for 3 months. And Photoville saw it, and they said, we love this exhibition, we want to bring it to Photoville. And for the past 3 or 4 months, I've been working with Laura and the team at Photoville to, in a lot of ways, replicate what the exhibition looked like in the museum. What you see here is a Moko Jambi, and this is an installation shot from the Queen's Museum. The Moko Jambi itself comes from West Africa. It was migrated to the Caribbean through slavery, but it continues to be a symbol in the carnival scene. At the Caribbean Equality Project, we wanted to queer the Moko Jambi. Oftentimes, the Moko Jambi is not a symbol that represents queer and trans people, so we wanted to reclaim what this Moko Jambi represents for us. But we were able to do it using rainbow colors, trans colors, while also incorporate Caribbean carnival colors as well. The black and brown from the outfit represents the Black and Brown LGBTQ community. The yellow waistband that the Moko Jambi is wearing represents the intersex community that's part of the LGBTQ community. And the purpose for that was I have never seen a Moko Jambi in LGBTQ colors. And our goal to this was to reclaim the Moko Jambi, to create a symbol of emancipation for LGBTQ Caribbean people. And my colleague, Ryan Persati, actually wrote the summary for the Moko Jambi in itself, who is our cultural researcher. Ryan lives in Toronto, Canada, but serves as our cultural researcher for the Caribbean Equality Project. And we also have one of our featured participants here. But before I introduce you to Darren, I want to hear any questions that you may have or any feelings that came to you as you were looking at the photos. I'm Guyanese, born in Guyana. My family migrated to New York in 1996, and I've been living in New York City since then. Do we have any Caribbean folks here? Wow, everyone. That's amazing. Where are you from?
My parents are from St. Vincent.
St. Vincent. Where are you from? Guyana? Amazing. You're Trini? Amazing. Guyanese and Trinidadian. Anyone else? Bahamas? Oh, incredible. So a lot of the imagery that you see might be familiar to you because you're familiar with it from the Caribbean in itself. Do y'all have any questions about the exhibition in itself, or maybe the work that Caribbean Equality Project does?
Being that there's a heavy homophobic culture in the Caribbean, it's your job to work on relations between the two people, two groups?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So Guyana in itself is one of the only countries in South America that doesn't have any LGBTQ protections. And that means that if you're queer or trans or identify as an LGBTQ person, you could be fired. There's no employment protections. There's no affirming health care. There's no job security. If you get attacked on the streets for being who you are, if you go to the police, you're actually re-victimized because the police themselves don't even take your complaint seriously. Rajiv Mahabir happens to be Guyanese. He's a writer. Tanuja Rosario, who is in the middle, she's a reproductive rights advocate, a queer woman, and she works with one of our partners at South Queens Women's March, but she's also Guyanese as well. And we wanted to center Caribbean people, and because we had a limited funding for the project, we were only able to work with these folks, but for example, Queen Jean, who's Haitian, in Haiti in itself, homophobia, transphobia is very rampant. Queer and trans people are attacked regularly in Haiti. And Queen Jean really talks about that a lot in her work in New York City. All right, so I'm going to pass it over to Darren.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Good. Is everybody doing good or just you? So it's really just such an honor to be a part of this exhibit. But more importantly, it's an honor to serve as Photoville Equality Project's programs director. A lot of times I'm more behind the scenes trying to support the work, but Mo thought it was very important to have some of the leaders step up a little bit, even if we're just more behind the scenes, to be featured in this exhibit because we're an important part of the ecosystem of what it means to be a queer Caribbean person. What I really love about this exhibit is that it shows what can happen when queer, trans, gender non-conforming people from the Caribbean are allowed to thrive. And we start contributing to the world in different ways. So, for instance, it's my honor to be a part of this exhibit with Rohan, whose work centers the solidarity between the Black and Asian communities. It's an honor to be a part of this exhibit with Tanuja, who does a lot of really awesome work raising issues related to reproductive justice. It's an honor to be a part of this exhibit with Rajiv, who's an award-winning author and poet, whose book is available at the Public Library, by the way. You should check it out. For my part, I am heavily involved in the environmental movement back in Trinidad. And I think this exhibit is really demonstrative of the fact that when we're allowed to thrive, when we're given the tools and resources that we need, we can actually contribute to the world, and we can actually bring our expertise, our knowledge, our individual perspectives to the environmental movement, or the reproductive justice movement, or to arts and culture. We develop because of them, not in spite of them, you know? Carnival culture itself would be nothing just imagine carnival culture without queer folks contributing to the art, the music, the whole cultural experience. We've always been a part of the cultural and social landscape back home. We've just been invisibilized. And so, yeah, just the internal link to your point is just that back home, what if queer folks were allowed to participate in society openly, you know?
So we have about 5 minutes, I think. 5 minutes, Kaylee? So we have about 5 minutes. So do y'all have any other general questions about the exhibition? Or do y'all want to share anything about what you're experiencing from the exhibition? No?
I'm going to speak again.
Sure, go ahead.
So my group actually, what you're doing is kind of similar to what we did. We documented artists during the pandemic, resilience and what they went through. So it's good for them to see, this is a group that means something to you, all of us. And we wanted to show that story, and that's kind of what they did with their story, But it's specifically about art.
Yeah. And thank you for thank you for sharing that, because even during the pandemic, it was difficult to be an artist. My day job, I'm the executive director of the Caribbean Equality Project, but I also do a lot of curation work, storytelling work, featuring Caribbean LGBTQ people. And that work became really difficult during the pandemic because of all of the protocols. But safety became our primary concern. We needed to make sure that all of our participants were safe. If we were doing makeup, the makeup artists make sure that the makeup artist itself had their mask on. Everyone had to be COVID negative, vaccination. When we actually did this exhibition, the opening for it at the Queen's Museum got pushed back 6 weeks because of COVID and the rising rates of COVID back in January. It was installed at the Queen's Museum in December, and we weren't able to do an opening reception for it until the middle of February. So COVID really impacted not just the way we create, but after we create, how we're able to share it with our community. I think the pandemic helped all of us to really center who we are in a lot of ways. I lost a really close friend right at the beginning of the pandemic, and she was also an artist, an amazing artist, an educator. Her name was Dezanne Romaine, and she was the principal of the Brooklyn Democracy Academy. And she spent her last days calling parents and students, letting them know that they've been exposed to COVID. And in New York City, the entire city shut down on March 16th, and Dezen passed away on March 22nd. Up until today, we have not been able to really gather to celebrate her. At the time when she passed, there was a lot of uncertainty around COVID. We didn't know what it was. And the Department of Health actually cremated Dezen without the family's consent. And then her ashes were then shared with the family. And that was how, yeah, that's what happened. But Dezen has actually really inspired me as a person. She was from Trinidad and Tobago. She was raised by a single mother. We grew up in Far Rockaway together. We went to college, high school, and through our adult life, we supported each other. She created space for me to talk about LGBTQ issues at the Brooklyn Democracy Academy, but she also came and supported the work that Darren and I do at the Caribbean Equality Project as well. So for those of you that are an artist, that are aspiring, that are looking to take up leadership roles, I will say do it. You will learn so much skills from high school, but the people, the friends you make will have lifelong impacts on your lives. And Dezen was that friend for me, among many others. So the folks that you're with today might actually be your best friend or lifelong friend as you get older. Thank you. All right, thank you so much for coming. And again, thank you for being here. And connect with us on social media at Caribbean Equality Project. It was nice meeting all of you. Thank you.